Hey, Kyle one is wonderful here again with another wrestling review. This time it's NWA Power from August 23rd, 2022, recorded at Skyway Studios in Nashville, Tennessee. So this is a special edition of Power titled Celebration 74. It is the last show before this weekend's two-night NWA 74 event. So we'll also preview the cards for both nights after we review this show, as maybe more developments could happen within this show, because every single member of the NWA roster will be attendance for this edition of Power, this Celebration 74 event. So the build-up for NWA 74 has been kind of bad. They haven't really utilized their 3 months of television time, using it more on spending more time on bad comedy segments than actually building up matches for NWA 74, their biggest event of the year. So this is the NWA's last chance to finally get people excited for this event, which a lot of fans are upset about, mainly because Nick Aldis won the #1 contendership in the race for the Chase tournament to get an NWA World Heavyweight title shot at NWA 74. However, then NWA official Billy Corgan stripped Nick Aldis of the #1 contendership and simply just handed it over to Titus for no reason. So the story here is that Billy Corgan has been making shady deals with the former world champion Matt Cardona, going back to the last pay-per-view event 3 months ago, Always Ready, where Matt Cardona was the champion at the time and was stripped of the NWA World Heavyweight title after being injured. Billy agreed to give Cardona family title shots that they haven't earned in return for Matt Cardona handing over the title. This caused Nick Aldis to stand up for the locker room about these shady backhanded deals, and that's why Billy Corgan stripped Nick Aldis of the title shot that he earned. We haven't seen Nick Aldis on TV since, nor have they mentioned once on the television show that Tyrus has the title shot. So that just makes this build for NWA 74 feel very disjointed and almost meaningless. So we'll talk about that more as we review this Power, but it's been really awkward. They've mentioned in they show graphics after the thing showing that it's going to be Tyrus against Trevor Murdoch for the world title, but not once in all of these weeks of television shows on the actual show have they ever mentioned that it's going to be Tyrus and Trevor Murdoch. And that continues on this episode of Power as well. They talk about the main event title shot at NWA 74, and then they never ever mention who's in the title shot. That is so weird. So this is a very weird build. Let's just get into NWA 7 Power from this week, August 23rd. You could have seen it first released on YouTube August 26th. So NWA Celebrating 74 is the name of this event. And we start out really great because CJ, the assistant, is presenting the big 7-4 letter number cutouts. And CJ, the assistant, is hilarious. Her whole character is about presenting things while her client, Magic Jake Dumas, wrestles his matches. And it's always funny. Now we see that all the wrestlers are in attendance. Remember, every single wrestler on the roster will be here, and they make up the crowd. So we see Mae Valentine, Aaron Stevens are sitting in the front row next to Black G's, Jordan Clearwater, and Tyrus is on the other side of them. Then we see some more wrestlers in the crowd, such as Kerry Morton, La Rebellion, Country Gentleman, Roxy. In the very back is the Miserably Faithful sitting next to Paula Blaze. And then right there in the back, in the shadows, there he is, Nick Aldis. Also, it was kind of weird to see Camille sitting next to Mecha Wolf, of all people, from La Rebellion. Also, on the other side of the arena is the Cardona family sitting on far, far away from Nick Aldis. So it's Chelsea Green and Matt Cardona are making out, not even paying attention to anything. And what a wild setting for this show, with the entire roster surrounding the ring with no fans in attendance. This should be a good one. So we do start out with the match of the night. It'll be in the open weight. Well, maybe not the match of the night. I really like this one, though. It'll be an open weight / catch weight match, as Caprice Coleman from the junior heavyweight division will be on the go home show for NWA 74, just like Caprice said he would be. However, Caprice had told Homicide that he wanted to fight him on this, but it looks like Homicide was busy. I don't ever see him in the crowd. Anyway, maybe Homicide just didn't want to fight Caprice before he has his junior heavyweight title match against Kerry Morton, Ricky Morton's son. So instead, we'll have the jacked for a junior heavyweight Caprice Coleman taking on the jacked for a heavyweight Chris Adonis, formerly known as the Masterpiece, Chris Masters. So this is going to be a tough matchup for Caprice Coleman. There's still a bunch of balloons in the ring from the celebrations earlier, and they have to clear the ring before they can wrestle. Caprice finds it super hard to try and take down the much larger Chris Adonis as Chris blocks all the grappling moves attempted. But Caprice tries again, is able to take down Chris Adonis by picking the leg. Caprice applies a chin lock and transitions into a headlock, but Chris is able to get to his feet and get out, hitting a big shoulder tackle. Caprice then leaps over the next attack, hitting an arm drag and a drop kick that takes Chris Adonis down. This is a really good matchup between a small guy and a big guy. Caprice then gets an arm bar applied, but Chris gets out and hits a big backbreaker. Caprice won't be able to survive too many big shots from the powerhouse Chris Adonis, who's now hits 3 leg drops in a row, but Caprice Coleman's able to kick out at 1. There's still a lot of fight and fire left inside of Caprice Coleman. However, his body might give out before his heart does. We'll have to wait and see, because Chris Adonis now has a bear hug applied, and Coleman's in trouble, but he's able to clap the ears twice and then get out of it, hitting a drop kick. This buys himself some much needed recovery time. Both men now get up. Caprice hits a striking combo and a springboard heel kick, and Caprice hits an axe kick right after that for a 2 count. Caprice is definitely hanging right in there with the big man, Chris Adonis. Caprice Coleman then counters the next move, hitting a Rough Rider leg lariat. Matt Cardona in the crowd must have smirked at that one, unless he's still just making out with Chelsea Green and didn't see it. Anyway, Chris Adonis is able to get out and hit a back elbow to counter the next attack, and it takes too long on the middle rope, Chris Adonis does, so Caprice jumps up to the middle rope, hitting a beautiful looking Hurricane Rana. Caprice Coleman calls that move the leap of faith, and I can see why. Caprice then signals for the Holy Trinity, his finishing move, but Chris Adonis is able to block it using his power. Chris then ducks under a roundhouse kick, and Chris is able to apply the Master Lock Full Nelson. Caprice Coleman fights super hard to escape, but his body fails him, and Caprice passes out from lack of oxygen. The referee calls the match. The winner of this match, due to referee stoppage, Chris Adonis. Really, really good match here. I wrote down one of the best heavyweight matches in the last 3 months, but I guess it wasn't a heavyweight match because it was an open weight. Caprice Coleman's a junior heavyweight. So anyway, Caprice was awesome as usual, one of the best underrated wrestlers in the world. And then Chris Adonis really played his role perfectly. No complaints about this match at all. Both these men will have a match at the 2-night NWA 74 event, with Chris Adonis taking on Odinson in a big heavyweight matchup on night 1. Winner of that could get any number of the title shots that are available. And then on night 2, Caprice Coleman takes on Colby Carino in what could be an unofficial #1 contenders match for the NWA junior heavyweight. So that should be 2 good and big important matches, and they built up all 4 of those wrestlers pretty well over the last 3 months, despite not building up those 2 matches at all, which seems to be a common theme for NWA 74. A lot of people, they built up their characters, haven't win a few matches, but the people they're fighting, they haven't built up those matches whatsoever, and that's kind of how NWA is doing it. So we'll see how that works out. Maybe NWA 74 will be a great event, or maybe it'll just feel like a bunch of meaningless matches. It'll be one or the other. I feel like there's no gray area in this one. And well, maybe there will be. Maybe it'll just be like your average event. So anyway, never mind that. It'll be good, average, or bad, just like every single other event. Anyway, when we come back from the ad break, we're at the interviewers area with interviewer Kyle Davis. On one side, he's got the NWA Women's World Champion Camille, alongside her husband, Tom Lattimore, formerly known as Bram in TNA. On the other side of Kyle is Kylan King, who lost the title match against Camille at Always Ready, the last pay-per-view 3 months ago. It was a great match that Kylan King almost won, but now Kylan has to go to the back of the line, and if she wants to get another title shot, she wants to enter the Mildred Burke 10-women gauntlet as the first competitor, which is going to happen on night 1 of NWA 74. King would have to beat 9 women in a row in a gauntlet style match if she wants to get to night 2 for the world title shot, women's title shot. So meanwhile, on night 1, Camille has to defend her world title against Taya Valkyrie, who injured the #1 contender Natalia Markova, and got the number one contendership by beating Allison Kay instead, because Narkova was out injured. So Taya Valkyrie will get that match on night 1 for the title. The winner of the title match between Kamille and Taya has to defend the title the next night on night 2 of NWA 74 against the winner of the gauntlet match, which could be Kylan King if she gets through all 9 women. Although it's not confirmed. Kylan King said she wanted to be the number 1 entrant, but it wasn't quite confirmed officially. But I'm assuming she will be. Kamille then says that her and Kylan King are on good terms. And Kamille then says, as far as NWA 74 goes, we're all excited. And yes, of course, I'll have to defend my title twice. And anyone of you that thinks you can take on the Brick House, bring it. Sorry for messing that up, but Tom Lattimore then says, I came this close to gold at Always Ready. You win some, you lose some. But now that I've had a taste, I want more. I want to be just like my wife and be a champion. So Kylan King doesn't get to say a word, and we just move on to the next segment. So that was kind of weird. So the storyline is kind of dictating that Kylan King would go through the 9 women to win the gauntlet, because we have been building up the Kamille-Kylan King rematch nicely over the last couple months. However, just in the last 2 weeks, Kylan King has started to be heavily featured in AEW, having 3 matches in the last 2 weeks. And it seems like Kylan King has taken the spot left over by the injured Chris Statlander, meaning that Kylan King might be close to signing with AEW. Thus, NWA might not want her to destroy 9 of their women in a row. It'll be very interesting to see what happens. I'm hoping maybe a new debuting woman will win the gauntlet and then set up a nice title shot on night 2. However, we do find out later on who the 10 competitors are, and I'll talk about that and say what I think about it when we get there. And I'll do, as soon as I finish reviewing this episode of Powerrr, I'll go in right into the preview for NWA 74. But if it is just like they've kind of been setting up the Kylan King against Kamille rematch for night 2, that would be great as well. They've been building that up for 3 months, but I guess you can't count Taya Valkyrie out of her match on night 1. You can't count her out because Taya Valkyrie is the AAA Women's Champion and the MLW Women's Champion, as well as former many other championships like Impact and Knockouts division. So that's going to be a great match. Things are looking really good in the women's division. So speaking of the women's division, we'll go right to the ring with a match about to go underway. It'll be Jennacide taking on the debuting Kaylee Kassidy, who seems to mostly work for the PPW promotion in Indiana. Kayla Kassidy is a 3-year pro who was trained by Larry D. And we saw Larry D lose to Tim Storm just last week here on NWA. And Larry D is sitting in the front row watching his student here. So Kayla Kassidy's nickname is the one you love to hate, and Kayla has some size to her, but the massive Jennacide is still much bigger. They tie up here, and Jenna throws her down hard right away, asserting dominance. Kayla looks confused and a little bit worried. Jenna just stands there and waits for Kayla to fight back. Eventually, Jenna hits another shoulder tackle and waits around again. Then Jenna hits a body punch that makes Kayla Kassidy roll out of the ring. The wrestlers ringside are now all chanting Kayla sucks, and damn, that's cold. Jenna then hits a huge pump kick as Kayla Kassidy comes back in the ring. Jenna then hits the Jennacide 9000 driver and gets the 1, 2, 3. Wow, what a one-sided match. Thanks for coming, Kayla Kassidy. You're winner of the match by pinfall, Jennacide. So that was a dominant win for Jenna, putting her name right out there as one of the favorites to potentially win the Mildred Burke Invitational Gauntlet on night 1, getting the title shot on night 2, especially if Jenna can get a favorable draw towards the end of the match, as the gauntlet match is a little bit of the luck of the draw. If you come out number 10, you have a way better odd of winning the 10 women gauntlet than you did at number 1. So we'll see how that one goes. It should be one of the more interesting and fun matches of the entire 24 matches between the 2 cards and the 2 pre-shows. So like I said, I'll preview the NWA 74 after this review of Powerrr. So when we go to back from the ad break, we're in the interviewers area again with Kyle Davis, this time with the entire Cardona family. So it's Matt Cardona, Chelsea Green, his wife, his best friend Brian Myers, protege VSK, and then their friend Mike Knox. If you're not watching AEW, we just saw VSK make a terrible debut. He is now the Trust Busters, who are already low on the totem pole where people don't like him anyway. But now the Trust Busters have a butler, and his name is Jeeves SK. And horribly, that is VSK's new gimmick in AEW. He's the Trust Butler. Sounds like a career-ending move, if you ask me, for the young, promising VSK. Hopefully that works out, but wow, talk about a terrible gimmick. Anyway, going back to NWA, Matt Cardona still has his arm in a sling, but he will be having a match at NWA 74 against an opponent of his choosing, which makes it definitely look like more shady deals from Billy Corgan, the official, to allow that to happen. Anyway, VSK cuts Kyle Davis off, telling him to show respect to Cardona. VSK, the new Trust Butler, Jeeves SK, I should say, says that we are the first family of NWA. What happened to Matt is in the past. He's almost ready to come back, but let's right now focus on Bully Ray. I hope you've been watching Bully, because Mike Knox has been putting people through tables, just like he'll do to you at NWA 74. Mike Knoxton says, Bully Ray, your time is short. I hope every day you're staring in the mirror, thinking about your long career and all the people you screwed along the way. I hope you think about all the wrongs you've done. Since this match has been announced, I've never slept better, and I've never been happier. I know Bully Ray will get what's coming to him. Brian Myers now says, I'm the most professional wrestler here in NWA, and I'm here not because I want to be or because I need to be. It's because my best friend Matt asked me to be. I've had his back since day one. Matt Cardona then says, I have a message for the NWA universe watching at home and a message for all my fellow NWA superstars here tonight. Thank you. Thank you for the months of well wishes, the cards, the balloons, the flowers, and I'm happy to say I'm almost ready. At NWA 74, there's a big NWA World's title match, but you know what could make that better? If I was in the title match. I've never been beaten for the title. I'm the real World's Heavyweight Champion. Sorry, I got a little confused. I love you all. But what I really love the most is the 10 pounds of gold. So then the Cardona family storms off mad. And yet again, we did not mention on NWA television what the actual title match is. Now, they've shown us in graphics, and we know it's going to be Trevor Murdoch against Titus for the world title. But it's so freaking awkward that anytime they mention the title match, they just say the title match, the main event, the big match. They never, ever say on television that it's against Titus. So it's very intriguing. It makes me definitely think there's something going to happen with the world title match. But if it ends up just being a regular title match, Murdoch against Titus, and nothing really happens other than a match, that would be absolutely terrible. Because of the fact that we haven't really built up that match, even an inkling. We haven't built up the main event match for the biggest event of the entire year for NWA, not even once. It's ridiculous. So we'll see what happens. We've got Nick Aldis looming over. He won the number one contendership. We've got the uncrowned world heavyweight champion who was stripped of the title, never beaten for the title, Matt Cardona, also watching over. So should be pretty interesting stuff. So then when we come back, we're told it's going to be an elimination tag match. So this will be a triple threat elimination tag match with 3 people in the ring at once. You only tag out to your own partner, and if one team gets eliminated, then you keep fighting until the next team's eliminated. So 3 teams here. First out is the Dirty Sexy Boys. And name me a more random team in the world than JTG from Crime Time teaming up with Fandango to form the Dirty Sexy Boys. So JTG is absolutely jacked. He's in way better shape than he was over a decade ago when he was in WWE. So coming out next, the second team in this triple threat elimination tag match is the father and son team of Hawx Aerie. So that's Luke, the father, and PJ, the son, Hawx. Luke and PJ Hawx. And the final team in this elimination style match is Rhett, Titus, and Gustavo. So they're a new team, but they do have similar gimmicks, kind of ladies' man type things, which is also kind of similar to the Dirty Sexy Boys. So the odd man out on this one is definitely Hawx Aerie. So they shouldn't be too bad as a tag team because Rhett Titus is a big time tag team veteran from ROH, having many partners over the years. Meanwhile, Luke and PJ Hawx obviously will have the most chemistry, being father and son, so this should be a pretty good match. Luke Hawx starts the match out with JTG and Rhett Titus, because don't forget, 3 men are in the ring at once. You only tag out to your own partner, and it's elimination style. So they do some great start to this match. Really great, quick offense, like also leaping over each other and stuff. Awesome start to the match. Then JTG hits a drop kick on Luke Hawx and a sling blade on Rhett Titus. Dirty Dango tags in. So does Gustavo. They both take out Luke Hawx. Then Gustavo and Dango dance around for a little while because, like I said, they have similar gimmicks. Then Gustavo throws a rose at Dirty Dango, so Dango eats it, and then the wrestlers ringside chant, "This is awesome," which was kind of funny. The actual other stuff wasn't funny. Just the wrestlers chanting that "this is awesome" was funny. Anyway, PJ Hawx now tags in and he grapples around with Dango. PJ gets the better of this grappling. Dango then hits a shoulder tackle, and Dango evades 2 attacks in a row from PJ, hitting a nice drop kick. Dango then leaves the ring and he wants to kiss Velvet Sky, who's on commentary. She slaps Dango in the face, and PJ Hawx then dives on the Dango outside the ring, rolls him back in, and gets the 1-2-3. The Dirty Sexy Boys have been eliminated, and that was super awkward. I don't even that seemed like assault there. I don't like to see that kind of stuff on wrestling. Anyway, Rhett Titus now applies a headlock on PJ Hawx. PJ counters this into a Northern Light suplex, and I noticed that the ring ropes are super squeaky. You never like to hear that. Now Luke and Gustavo both tag in. Luke and PJ hit a double team on Gustavo, ending with Luke power slamming him for the 1-2-3. The winners of this elimination style match are Hawx, Aerie. So wow, that definitely might bring Hawx, Aerie closer to a tag title shot. Yet again, the young PJ Hawx looks absolutely great in the ring. He's going to be one of the good ones in a couple years. He's already really good. So one of the great ones, I should say. Luke Hawx still looks in his prime as well. So this is a very good father-son tag team. They could definitely give the tag team titles a run, champions a run. So Luke is now yelling at Colby Carino ringside before they leave. Remember, Luke Hawx wants a piece of Colby. He wants a piece of Homicide, the junior heavyweight champion as well. Luke Hawx is just basically an angry man. But that was a weird match. Not terrible. Pretty good stuff, especially the beginning. It was all really fast paced and stuff, but the Fandango stuff with Velvet Sky a little too assaultish for my liking, not really entertaining. Anyway, after a commercial break, we see the women's NWA women's tag team champions, Pretty Empowered, will be in the ring with a match against each other. So after last week, Ella Envy told her tag team champion partner Kenzie Paige that they'll have a friendly match here to see who the leader of the team is, basically meaning that if Ella Envy wins, Pretty Empowered will still continue to cheat to win. However, if Kenzie Paige wins, Ella must stop her cheating ways. Ella isn't the best wrestler in the world, but she's always great entertainment and fun. She's always yelling in the ring and she's already talking trash to all the wrestlers in the crowd. She wants them all to cheer for her. And then all of a sudden, before the match even gets going, Mercurio walks out. So he's got Hayley, Shadows, and Jaylee around each one of his arms. So Mercurio, his gimmick is that he's an Italian romance novel model, and Mercurio says that Hayley and Jaylee are fighting over his love. So this is now just magically turned into a tag team match, Pretty Empowered in a non-title match against Hayley, Shadows, and Jaylee. So what the heck? What was the point of building up the previous match? But anyway, let's see what happens here. Ella Envy shoves Hayley right in the beginning, saying, "Who are you?" Like I said, Ella's always funny. So then they block strikes back and forth. Hayley hits a massive headbutt here, and both women tag out. Kenzie Paige then takes them both out, and Pretty Empowered hit a double super kick on Jaylee, getting the 1-2-3 already. Wow. The winners of this match by pinfall, Pretty Empowered. So nothing's been settled between Kenzie and Ella heading into their big title defense this weekend against the Hex. The former champions, Hex, Marty Bell, and Allison Kay. So what was the point of all this? Ella is now talking trash to the Hex, who are ringside in the crowd. Remember, it's all wrestlers in the crowd, and they will be taking each other on in a Kings Highway street fight for the women's tag titles at NWA 74. So the Hex get in the ring. Ella shoves Allison, starting out a 4-women brawl here. The Hex beat the crap out of Pretty Empowered. Ella Envy rolls out of the ring and leaves her partner Kenzie Paige to get absolutely destroyed by double teams. Kenzie is destroyed, and Ella Envy is only worried about the tag title belts, not even her own partner. So basically, we got our answer to everything about Pretty Empowered. And the answer is that Ella Envy doesn't care about her partner, Kenzie Paige, not even a little bit. Ella Envy only cares about being a champion. So I'm guessing the Hex are going to win the titles, seeing that Ella Envy does not like her partner, and Kenzie is going to be super mad at Ella. She probably won't like her either. So the Hex seem to be on the same page. So man, that's unfortunate. I really am a big fan of Pretty Empowered. Hopefully Kenzie just comes around and then they can both just be cheating kills going forward. I think that would be the best thing to keep them together, and we still get this great Ella Envy character. If they do break up, then hopefully Ella can stick around and be a good character while she's still young in her career and she has a chance to get better in the ring. Right now she's not great in the ring, but she's so damn entertaining that I would love to see her on TV at least every other week, or every like 3 weeks, never any more than that. So we went like 6 weeks without seeing Ella Envy and it was upsetting. So anyway, here we are finally. Let's see if on TV they finally mentioned what the NWA World Heavyweight title match is going to be, because Trevor Murdoch is now in the interviewers area with Kyle Davis. Murdoch says NWA 74, our biggest pay-per-view of the year. I'm coming home, and when I do, I'm bringing hell with me. And then Trevor just leaves. So what the heck? Yet again, they failed to mention what the actual title match is during the actual shows. It's pretty much ridiculous. It's certainly different, and different is good in wrestling where everything's been beaten to death over and over and over. So if you can find anything at all a little bit different, that's usually good. However, like I said, if this all just leads to just a regular title match at the main event of the biggest event of the year, with Titus taking on Murdoch in a terrible sounding, I'm sorry, that match sounds absolutely dreadful. Titus has no knees left in his 400-pound body, and Murdoch doesn't get around that well either. That's going to be a terrible match. And if there's no like story that we actually get story at the actual event, if all the stories happen in the months after, then the entire 3 months and NWA 74 will all be for nothing. It could have been like you could have missed the entire 3 months, come back and not really missed a damn thing. Especially because they're not even talking about this title match as if it's a thing. One of the weirdest things I've ever seen in wrestling. Like I said, it's good to be different, but wow, that is so weird. Let me get a quick drink. So it's main event time for NWA Power celebrating 74. And in the main event, it will be a non-title match featuring the NWA World's Tag Team Champions Commonwealth Connection. So that's Doug Williams and Harry Smith. And it'll be a non-title match against the brand new team, the Spectaculars. So the Spectaculars just formed a week ago on Power when Rush Freeman got kicked out of the Ill Begotten. His replacement, Brady Pierce, saw what happened with Rush Freeman being excommunicated out in public in front of the crowd. So Brady Pierce declined the offer to join Ill Begotten, instead choosing the team up with Rush Freeman. So they're basically Fantastics ripoffs with bow ties and vests, and their name is the Spectaculars instead of the Fantastics. So let's see how this goes. They do have a good look to each other, and I do like that they left the Ill Begotten to form a new trios team, because don't forget, Rush Freeman has his brother Rolando Freeman with him. So the Commonwealth Connection also have a title defense at NWA 74 against La Rebellion. But don't forget, OGK, Matt Taven, and Mike Bennett are probably going to be watching that match closely. OGK are also getting an Impact World title tag title shot this Thursday. So they're definitely going to be watching that one, I'm guessing. Rush Freeman's big but little tiny brother, Rolando, gets in Harry Smith's face before the match starts. So Harry throws him out of the ring, and that allows Rush Freeman to jump Harry from behind to start this match. So don't forget, it's not Rolando in the match. It'll be Brady Pierce, the new team of the Spectaculars. So Harry Smith is able to hit a big shoulder tackle and a snap suplex to take control right away, and Rush Freeman already looks hurt. Harry wears him down some more, hitting a huge forearm after that, and it's not looking good for the Spectaculars' debut. Both men now tag out. Doug Williams and Brady Pierce are in. Doug takes him down, applying a hammerlock on the arm. Doug then stretches the crap out of Brady Pierce and then applies a headlock. Brady then gets out, hitting a nice back elbow. Rush now tags in, and they hit a double team on Doug Williams for a 2 count. Doug then hits a big strike to take back control and tag in Harry Smith, who comes in and hits more strikes on Rush, including stomping and stepping on Rush's chest and like gut area. So Doug now tags in. They hit a double team, but Rush is able to kick out of this just barely. Doug stretches him out a little bit more now and applies a headlock. Rush tries to get out, but Doug strikes him to keep control. Rush then counters a corner attack with getting a boot up. Then Rush hits a lariat and both men tag out. Brady Pierce hits some punches and a big boot on Harry Smith. Brady then drops a standing elbow drop for a 2 count. Harry gets up, hits a massive belly-to-back suplex. Then Doug tags in. They hit a double team, ending with a huge power slam from Harry Smith. Harry then slams Doug in the Brady hard, and Rush is able to break up the pin. Harry then throws Rush out of the ring, hits a big boot on Brady right into a Doug Williams rolling chaos German suplex, getting the 1, 2, 3. The winners of this match by pinfall, Commonwealth Connection. So, well, that was definitely short, but it was a really good match. And there's definitely something there with the Spectaculars. I'm excited to see them grow as a team going forward. Anyway, the Commonwealth Connection definitely show why they're the champs. They've got some great moves and great double teams. And before Power can end now, the Ill Begotten come out. Danny Deals leads Alex Taylor and Jeremiah Plunkett down to the ring. And it was just last week that Jeremiah Plunkett kicked Rush Freeman out of the Ill Begotten. So Danny, Alex, and Jeremiah start beating up the Spectaculars, including their manager, Rolando. And that makes the Miserably Faithful now jump the ring. And that's because the Miserably Faithful will take on the Ill Begotten at NWA 74 in a Beelzebub Bedlam match. So Judas, Sal the Pal, and Gags the Gimp are now brawling with the Ill Begotten. And this lasts for a little while. Then hilariously, while all this brawling is happening, CJ the assistant walks by presenting the numbers again, which in and of itself, because of the big brawling, is funny. But because CJ's the best character in NWA, CJ has the numbers backward so that it says 47. I absolutely love CJ the assistant, one of my favorite characters in wrestling. So Power then ends with another one of my favorite characters in NWA 74, Gags the Gimp. He unzips his mouth hole of his gimp mask, sticks his tongue out, but Jeremiah punches him right in the face, and that's how we end the go home show for NWA 74. So there was pretty good stuff. I like that show. I like the whole gimmick of the wrestlers being around in the crowd. Really good go home show for NWA 74. Celebrating 74 was a great show. With the just the whole gimmick of having the wrestlers around ringside being the crowd. So there was no episode of NWA USA this week. So we'll get right into the preview of NWA 74. And we'll start by reviewing. There was a 4-minute video on the NWA YouTube page about Billy Corgan himself running down the card. So let's see if Billy Corgan has anything to say. Billy Corgan starts out right away by saying it will be Titus against Trevor Murdoch for the NWA World's title. And he doesn't really mention anything about Nick Aldis being the number 1 contender before that, or nothing about Matt Cardona should be in that match if he's healthy. So anyway, he then breaks down the women's title scene, and we get the full 10 names for Night 1's Mildred Burke Invitational 10-woman gauntlet. So we already know, or we assume, that Kylan King will be the first person entered. So in no particular order, also in the match is Natalia Markova, Maddie Rinkowski, Missa Kate, Taryn Terrell, Max the Impaler, Jennacide, Angelina Love, Tootie Lynn, and Samantha Starr, who is Baby Doll's daughter, Baby Doll being from the NWA back in the 80s. So that instantly makes me think, when I saw those names, why the heck is Natalie Markova not in the world title match already? The whole point was that they said Markova, even though Markova beat Taya Valkyrie, because Taya Valkyrie gave Markova a concussion, legitimately, she beat the crap out of her. Go back to my Always Ready review. I was pissed at Taya Valkyrie. But anyway, it makes no sense, but maybe Markova could win this and get the title shot. Like I said earlier in the review, Kylan King seemed to be what they were leading for. The whole buildup over the last 3 months was for a rematch, Kylan King and Camille. But the problem now is Kylan King might be signing with AEW, so Kylan King might not go from the first one entered, where she would have to defeat 9 women in the NWA roster in a row. So if Kylan King is going to sign with AEW, I no longer see NWA allowing her to beat 9 women in a row to win the gauntlet. So I think we'll get someone else winning the gauntlet, or they could at the very least just say, well, Kylan King wanted to be the number 1 entrant, but that's not how it works. And maybe they could have Kylan King come out like 8, 9, or 10 and then win the match, setting up the match that they've reviewed already. But like I said, Natalie Markova was the number 1 contender, so it could be that. Max the Impaler's another good option. Max the Impaler's been over tearing it up in Japan recently at Tokyo Joshi Pro. That could be an option. We saw just on this episode right here, Jennacide got a big dominant victory. Could be someone like a Samantha Starr, who I don't know anything about other than the fact that she's Baby Doll's daughter. So that's another option, as well as Angelina Love, who we've seen been around the scene for decades, and she's returned recently. She wanted to get the title shot that Angelina Love had, like a leftover title shot, but she had retired. Instead of giving it to Angelina Love, she gave that title shot to Tim Storm. So don't forget, at some point, Tim Storm also has a NWA World Heavyweight title shot in the bank. Just adding to the list of Matt Cardona, who obviously has a title shot coming because he never lost the title. He was just injured, as well as Nick Aldis, who won the number 1 contendership tournament and never got his title shot. So there's 3 legitimate claims for people that want to get an NWA World title shot. 3 people have legitimate claims, and none of them is Titus, who's actually getting the title shot. So Tim Storm, Matt Cardona, and Nick Aldis are going to be watching over that closely. So basically nothing else of note happens in this 4-minute video with Billy Corgan. He just runs down the card. Like I said earlier, including the pre-shows, this 2-night event has 24 matches in total. And like some of these matches are like 10-team battle royals and 10 women gauntlet matches. So this is going to be a wild 2 nights of action. I'm really looking forward to it, even though I keep saying throughout my weekly reviews that NWA isn't really building up for these cards or for these matches at all. But one thing they have done a good job of is building up each and individual character. So let's go over each and every one of these 24 matches. I've got about 15 minutes before the pre-show starts. So let's go over these 24 matches and look and see what we can get going, see what we can see on these. So night 1, which is today, Saturday. I'm recording this on Saturday just before the pre-show starts. So on the pre-show tonight, night 1, Saturday, it'll be Pope taking on Rodney Mack. So we last saw Pope getting destroyed by Trevor Murdoch, who looked like Trevor Murdoch was about to turn heel and just beat the crap out of Pope after the match. However, Murdoch just walked away and left Pope there. So not an official heel turn for Trevor Murdoch as he stopped his attack. However, Pope is going to be sad to be on the pre-show against 50-year-old Rodney Mack, who Rodney Mack had a chance to get a TV title shot, or maybe it was a national openweight title shot, but he failed to win that match, relegating Rodney Mack to the pre-show. Rodney Mack has been accompanied for the last couple months by Aaron Stevens. If you remember at Always Ready, the last pay-per-view 3 months ago, Aaron Stevens said he was going to retire. Then like a week or 2 later, Aaron Stevens showed back up with Rodney Mack as Rodney Mack's new manager. Aaron Stevens has said that Rodney Mack helped him a lot early in Aaron's career, and now late in Rodney's career, Aaron wants to return the favor because Rodney Mack needed help reminding that he is Rodney Mack and he is good. So also on the pre-show, it'll be a really good match. Luke Angry Hawx is going to take on VSK, or Jeeves SK as I should call him. I can't believe he took over that gimmick in AEW. Then we've got a third pre-show match on night 1, Saturday, for NWA 74. It'll be the really good tag team of Country Gentlemen. I love their last tag team. They're kind of an unassuming tag team. Country Gentlemen is AJ Kazana and Anthony Andrews, but don't sleep on them. They're a really good team. They'll be taking on Gold Rush, and that's Jordan Clearwater and the returning Marche Rocket. So we haven't seen Marche Rocket in this entire 3-month span, but in that 3 months, Jordan Clearwater has been showing really good stuff, including debuting at New Japan Strong, the American version of New Japan. So Jordan Clearwater looking in good shape. Marche Rocket, he's good, and maybe he's feeling good after some rest. I don't know what he's been up to, but that should be a good match on the pre-show. Then we're told Nick Aldis will have an open forum on night 1 of NWA 74. There is no world title match on night 1. The world title match between Murdoch and Titus is on night 2. So this will be very interesting to see what Nick Aldis talks about at the opening here. Also on night 1, we'll see the Beelzebub's Bedlam match. The Miserably Faithful, Judias Sal, the Pal, and Gags the Gimp will be taking on the ill-begotten Alex Taylor, Jeremiah Plunkett. And since Jeremiah Plunkett messed up the ill-begotten, the only third person of the ill-begotten is their manager, Danny Deals, who will have to be in this Beelzebub Bedlam match. So that should be definitely interesting. We'll also, like I talked about earlier, see a good match in the heavyweight division as Chris Adonis will take on Odinson. We last saw Odinson lose his TV title match against Tyrus. So he'll be looking to get back in the title picture, as well as Chris Adonis, who's been a former champion in NWA before as well. We'll also get somewhat of a debut for NWA as EC3. Ethan Carter III will be on night 1 against big, strong Mims. We haven't seen Mims since he got taken out hard, I think, by Jax Dane in a national heavyweight title match. But EC3, like I said, we've never seen the EC3 character in NWA, but if you go back all the way into like 2007 or 2009, something like that, Derek Bateman was in one of the NWA, I think in Atlanta. So anyway, that should be good. Matt Cardona, the former NWA World's Heavyweight Champion, who was never pinned, never submitted. He just got injured to lose his title. He'll be back in action in his first match since being injured against a hand-picked opponent. Like I was saying, it seems like more shady deals for for Billy Corgan to allow this to happen. So I don't know who Matt Cardona's going to handpick the opponent's going to be. My best guess is probably like Brian Myers himself, Matt Cardona's best friend. That could be an option. Or maybe Matt Cardona will pick somebody like a KC Rocks, who we've seen taken under the leadership of, he's been mentored by Aaron Stevens, but KC Rocks is a small guy and someone Matt Cardona could pick on. Like I said earlier, we've already gone through the Mildred Burke Invitational, so I won't go through that again, but it'll definitely be interesting to see if the original winner, it looked like it was always going to be Kylan King winning that match. Now that Kylan King basically, it looks like close to signing with AEW, maybe she won't win this match anymore. Then in a match we've been setting up for 3 months now, a tables match against Bully Ray and Mike Knox. Mike Knox is mad at Bully Ray for leaving the Aces and Eights faction back in Impact high and dry, because Bully Ray went back to WWE signing $1 million contract, leaving Aces and Eights the rotten way and die. Mike Knox has been holding a grudge ever since then and has thrown Bully Ray through a table 3 months ago on Powerrr, the first one after Always Ready. So that'll be interesting. Bully Ray back in a tables match here against Mike Knox. On night 1, we'll also have an NWA National Heavyweight Championship match as Jax Dane takes on Scion in a heel versus heel matchup that pretty much nobody wants to watch. Scion is the son of Austin Idol. He'll probably have Austin Idol watching him closely ringside. Jax Dane, on the other hand, will have Chris Silvio Esquire watching him ringside. So there might be some shenanigans in this heel versus heel national heavyweight title match. Then the night 1 also has an NWA World Junior Heavyweight Championship match as Homicide, a really good and fighting champion, takes on Ricky Morton's son, Kerry Morton, the future legend, with a big time shot to win the the World Junior Heavyweight title, a title his father carried on multiple occasions. Then on night 1, there'll be an NWA World Tag Team title match as Commonwealth Connection, Doug Williams and Davey Boy Smith Jr., a.k.a. Harry Smith, will take on La Rebellion. That's Bestia 666 and Mecha Wolf, and they'll probably have Bestia's father, Damian 666, who you might remember from WCW Nitro. He'll probably be ringside, ready to get La Rebellion their titles back. The former champions who lost the titles, the Commonwealth Connection, are getting a rematch on night 1. And night 1's main event will be a really good match for the NWA Women's World Championship. Camille defending against Taya Valkyrie. And I hope Camille can win this match. I'm still mad at Taya Valkyrie. It seemingly looked like she injured Natalia Markova on purpose so that Markova wouldn't be in this match tonight. So on night 2, there's only one pre-show match announced, and that'll be Angelina Love taking on Taryn Terrell. A nice matchup going back to their TNA Impact days. So that should be a good one. We'll also see on night 2 Mercurio taking on Magic Jake Dumas, and that's going to be a funny match because CJ the assistant will be ringside, and Mercurio's sure to be trying to use his charm on CJ the assistant, who always acts aloof, like she doesn't know what's going on, but really, we've seen her before. She knows exactly what's going on. It's just a ploy to get Magic Jake Dumas wins. And Jake Dumas has been winning a lot. So another win tomorrow at night 2 of NWA 74 could get Magic Jake Dumas close to a title shot. We'll also see on night 2, basically an unofficial number 1 contenders match for the junior heavyweight title, as former champion Colby Carino takes on Caprice Coleman in what should be a really good match. We'll also see in a really good heavyweight match, Tom Lattimore taking on Judias, only one night after Judias is in the Beelzebub Bedlam match. So we'll see if Judias can come into that match on night 2 healthy enough to actually compete with Tom Lattimore, who was close to winning the NWA World title at Always Ready 3 months ago. Nick Aldis will have a match on night 2. So remember, night 1, he has an open forum to say whatever he wants, which is definitely going to be one of the most highly anticipated things, as all of us have been really wondering what the heck's going on with this storyline. So Nick Aldis on night 2 will take on the returning Flip Gordon, of all people. These two had a really good match back in 2018. So we'll see. I know Flip Gordon isn't everyone's favorite anymore. We'll see if that match is a good one. We'll see an MLW Major League Wrestling National Openweight Championship match on this NWA card on night 2, as Davey Richards, the champion, takes on Thrill Billy Silas in what should be a really good open weight match. Thrill Billy Silas has a lot of size and good power moves to him, while Davey Richards, great veteran, way smaller than Thrill Billy. That's going to be a good match. We'll also have a 10-team battle royal for the NWA United States Tag Team Championships, a title that's just now being reintroduced. And this battle royal will include the Ill Begotten, Alex Taylor and Jeremiah Plunkett, the Now, Hale Collins and Vic Delicious, Miserably Faithful, Sal the Pal and Gags the Gimp, Gold Rush, Marche Rocket and Jordan Clearwater, Rough and Ready, which is Devon and Deontay, the Fixers, which is Jay Bradley and Wrecking Ball Legursky, Hawx, Aerie, Luke Hawx and PJ Hawx, Team Ambition, Mike Outlaw and Camaro Jackson, the Country Gentlemen, AJ Kazana and Anthony Andrews, and rounding it out, for now anyway, the Spectaculars, Rush Freeman and Brady Pierce, and there'll be 2 more surprise entrant teams. So it looks like it might even be more than 10 teams like they announced at the beginning. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So yeah, that's already 10 announced plus 2. So it'll be a 12-team battle royal to crown a very new brand new, I should say, NWA United States Tag Team Championship. Also, the NWA World's Women title will be on the 9 for a second straight night, as the champion, whoever it is coming out of the Camille Taya Valkyrie match, will take on the winner of the 10 women Mildred Burke Invitational from night 1. So that'll be interesting. Both women, whoever comes into that match, will be tired from the previous night. We'll also have the women's world tag team titles on the line, as Pretty Empowered Ella Envy and Kenzie Paige, who seemingly aren't getting along at all, take on the Hex, who are the former champions, in a Kings Highway street fight. And that is going to be really tough for Pretty Empowered to get out of there with the title. Looks like the Hex are going to get their titles back. And main eventing all of this, the 24th out of 24 matches, the NWA World's Heavyweight title is on the line as Trevor Murdoch defends against Titus. Trevor Murdoch in his hometown of St. Louis. And that'll be probably a bad match if it's just the two of them taking on each other. But like I've been explaining this whole time, we don't know who is going to be in that. We've got Tim Storm with a title shot coming up. We've got Nick Aldis, who was the number 1 contender. And we've got the undefeated champion who lost the title due to injury, Matt Cardona. Also, all 3 of them will be watching that match closely. If it just ends up being a straight up match, Murdoch Tyrus, I think the crowd and the fans are going to be upset. So I'm going to get going. The pre-show's about to start. Everyone enjoy the show, and I'll be I don't know when I can get the review out, But I will be having full reviews for both of these NWA cards. So look, I'll for sure be able to get night 1 out. If it not tonight, then I will have it out tomorrow afternoon. So keep a lookout for that before night 2 tomorrow. So thanks for tuning in and enjoy the NWA action and the 24 big matches. And I'll talk to you guys again real soon. Peace.